On this week's episode of the Fast Performance Baseball Podcast, Connor and I talk about the AL MVP race between Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. We talk about what is a more interesting athletic feat, dunking a basketball or throwing 105 miles per hour. We finish up with our main topic, which is recruiting videos. How to make an effective recruiting video that a coach will actually watch, how to put yourself in the best light, what should be included, what should not be included, and more things on top of that. All that and more on the Fast Performance Baseball Podcast. Welcome back to the Fast Performance Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Thomas, with my co-host,
Connor Reynolds.
Connor. Let's do a little more answer the internet or just random questions so our listeners get to know us a little bit better.
Hey, yo.
So what's your question for me?
In the year of 2022,
Okay, that is currently the year.
in the American League,
Right.
who's your MVP?
I know the popular answer is going to be Judge because he's just leads home runs, leads RBIs, and second in batting average.
Is it?
If I'm going with the safe choice, it's going to be Judge.
Is it?
It's not my choice. My choice is still Ohtani.
Do you honestly feel like do you feel like Judge is a safe choice?
He's a Yankee, which is going to be the first
Right.
big. He breaks the American League home run record. He's number one in RBIs in the American League, and he's number 2 in batting average in the American League.
See, I think he dropped.
And he's a Yankee.
I think he dropped from. I don't think he's second in average.
Double check that, but I think
well.
he is. He's gonna be. I think he's gonna finish this season, and we're recording this October 5th, the last day of the MLB regular season. All right. So last I checked, I believe he's gonna finish second. But to finish first in home runs, first in RBIs, and second in average, and be a Yankee, he's a lock for MVP. Even though the best player in the American League is Shohei Ohtani.
Bro, he's fifth.
Fifth? He fell
average.
fifth?
Yeah.
Really?
It goes Jeff McNeil with 326.
Oh, are we going all of MLB or just the American League?
Oh,
Do the American League because they have the NL and
I
the
thought that was.
NL and AL MVPs.
Oh yeah, so now he's second.
Yes.
My bad.
Yeah, you're good. Always know I'm right. So yeah, he's going to finish second in the AL and average, right? Mm-hmm. So on paper, he should be the American League MVP, and he's a New York Yankee, so he's in the media epicenter of the world, right? Under the brightest spotlights, we're playing for the greatest team. Voters will vote for him just on that narrative alone.
Yeah.
Is to have this being just one spot shy of the Triple Crown in the American League, which the last time that was done was 2012 Miguel Cabrera, and he won the MVP for winning the Triple Crown.
Now, do we also remember who, if he didn't hit the Triple Crown, should have won the MVP that year?
If he didn't hit the Triple Crown?
Yeah. Mikey Trout. That was the year he got second. He was second in voting.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. But Trout probably on paper was the better player based on WAR and weighted runs created and things like that. But baseball writers are baseball writers, and they're going to vote for the best narrative, right?
So why I brought that up is that he's not a Triple Crown winner.
Ohtani isn't?
No.
Or Judge isn't?
Judge isn't a Triple Crown winner.
Right.
So to have, in my opinion, the only reason Miguel Cabrera won that year is because he won the Triple Crown. Now, obviously, it takes a lot to be able to hit the Triple Crown. It doesn't happen often at all. But I feel like if he would have been second for average, I think Trout wins that. And why I bring it up is that Ohtani is top 5 for, if I recall, ERA.
I think he's number one ERA.
And I think in the past 2 months, in the month of September, if I recall, I think he had 3 starts, 4 starts, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think all of them were quality.
Yeah.
He also is one of the top guys for slugging, hit over 30 home runs.
He's bar none the MVP, but my thing that's going to be the ding against him is he won it last year. right?
So if he won it last year, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all. Like I 100% agree with what you're saying. Just playing devil advocate.
Yeah.
I think he's having a better year.
Oh, absolutely.
So in my opinion, if he won it last year, and it's not that it wasn't like there wasn't some who was second place last year for MVP. Let's take a gander at that. Like I think if he's having a better year this year on both sides, right, on the pitch, on the bump, and also at the plate. If Judge, in my opinion, would have had if he maintained his average, then it's like, all right, in my opinion, like it's Judge. But the fact, like now that he doesn't have the Triple Crown to wear,
See, but I don't think you can ding him for coming in second in a game now where he is not a guy who hits for average though.
But to be second and hit for average, I feel like
To be second, sure.
I'm pretty sure last year he was over 300.
I actually do think, if I'm not mistaken, that Judge actually does have a higher WAR.
My argument for Judge would be the Angels would still be in last place with or without Ohtani.
Right.
The Yankees would not be in their position without Judge. And so then it goes to who's the best player or who's the most valuable player. In my opinion, Judge is more valuable to the Yankees.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So then, like,
right,
what are these Hall of Fame guys judging on? You know what I'm saying? I think it comes down to the definition of, I feel like this happens almost every year. Like the definition of MVP. Is it the best player or is the most valuable player?
Right.
Because those can be two different people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. The NFL is a perfect example of that, where you have the MVP and it's only going to exclusively go to quarterbacks because a quarterback is the most valuable player on any team.
Right.
Right. Whereas they might not be the best offensive player. Right. So, who does more for the offense of their respective team, but they're not like, I think, what was it? Cooper Kupp, I think last year won our best offensive player in the NFL last year, but he wasn't the MVP because it went to Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers is a more valuable piece than Cooper Kupp is, as good as Cooper Kupp is.
Right.
Right. All right. So I got my question for you.
What's up?
Would you rather be able to throw 105 or dunk?
Throw 105.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I don't know why that's a question. Because I feel like I understand some people will say, like, I want to dunk because I think dunking is cool. But I'm like, yeah, but anybody can dunk.
Right.
Since 2008 in the StatCast era, only 10 people have thrown in the MLB 105 plus.
Yeah.
So I feel
that's crazy.
That's a more exclusive club that I would like to be a part of.
Oh, yeah. And, there's so many, adult, dunking leagues that, no one gives a fuck about.
No.
You throw 105,
yeah,
you're going to be, that's something.
Yeah. It's cool to dunk, but it's not that special.
Yeah.
Throwing 105 is cool, and it's very special.
I dunked one time.
Yeah, I can dunk, or I used to be able to dunk. But it's it's not that big a deal. I'm Aaron Hicks, Aroldis Chapman.
High school kids dunk.
Right. There are high school kids that dunk. There are not.
School.
All I'm aware of, there's one college guy ever that has done 105.
Tennessee.
Yeah. He's the only one, and no one else is anywhere near that.
No.
So it's do you want to be part of the whole crowd, or do you want to be in the very, very exclusive club?
Do you want to be the cool guy at the rec center when you're playing against high schoolers? Or do you want to be the dude against MLB players?
Or you're doing the noon ball leagues, playing against guys who go to play basketball during their lunch break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my shoes and a ball in the car. I'm right there too. So I'm not talking shit on anybody.
you throw 105, you can go get paid millions of dollars. You dunk, no, who cares?
Right.
You're not going to get paid. You're not going to, everyone in the NBA can dunk. So it's you're not that special.
Now, reverse that. Would you rather be a dude that throws 105, or would you rather be a chick that can consistently dunk? That, in my opinion, because if I was just hearing this, I think there's only been 28 total dunks
in the WNBA.
Total, not women that have dunked, 28 total.
Okay.
Dunks.
Oh, yeah. College and WNBA.
Right.
That's an Well, is that 28 different women or just 28 times?
That's just 28 times.
Yeah, because Candace Parker,
Brittany Griner probably calls for 3/4 of that.
Yeah,
really.
Griner, Candace Parker has. I think Lisa Leslie did too. I think Lisa Leslie could dunk in high school.
I saw. Well, I'm not.
You want to know a very fun stat line? I know this isn't related to baseball, but it's just very fun.
There was
Lisa Leslie's greatest game. You ready for this?
Yeah.
When she was in high school.
While you're pulling that up,
Yeah.
Shout out to Regis. I forget her name, but there's a chick. I think she committed to Baylor as well. She started dunking.
Oh yeah,
or like junior.
Fran Belibi.
Yeah,
Yeah, my sister played against her in high school.
Oh,
dude, she was terrifying.
Good luck.
She was, no, like in a good way. Like, oh my god, like my sister's gonna die playing this girl. She's gonna end up on some Sports Center highlight reel.
Easy.
So
Easily.
Lisa Leslie. Oh yeah. So in a high school game, Lisa Leslie scored 101 points in 16 minutes. Yeah. 101 points in 16 minutes. She was 37 for 56 from the floor and 27 of 35 from the free throw line.
How do you put up that many shots in 16 minutes?
In a half.
Like, I don't even know if I could do that, like, just shooting around in an empty gym.
Yeah. Yeah, she scored 49 in the first quarter. That's about 6 points a minute.
Do you know what school she was in? Was it a school for the deaf and blind?
I know the score was not... Oh, where is it? It's incredible.
Was it like 103? One chick made a layup besides her?
No, I think...
Imagine.
Oh my god, what's the final score of this game? Because it's insane. Oh yeah, so she played NBA game, Epiphany, Prince. Oh, so unfortunately she did not win. She did not beat the women's best scoring game. That was Cheryl Miller at 105 points. She scored in a high school basketball game. Could you imagine if you're just...
Who are they playing?
You're just so dumb. Well, I mean, bear in mind, like, how popular women's basketball was in the 90s.
Yeah, but still, like, I mean, if I'm the ref, I'm like, all right, you're at 100. Yeah,
right.
We're done. We're calling this.
I think I do want to say there was where they did actually end up just canceling the game, where they're just like, yeah, you can't. We're just done playing because there's just no point in doing this.
If I'm on the other team, I'm like, I'm looking at my coach and they're like, all right, get in there. I'm like, no, I'm good.
So, this isn't the right game. But she did one time score 105 points in a game, but 4 of the points were due to a technical foul charged on the opposing team for a delay of game after halftime, which were voided as the game was deemed to end after the first half. So that was the game that she scored the 105, but they took away 4 points because they're just like, yeah, we're just done playing.
So that's where they draw the line. They're like, all right. Instead of 105, 101. It was getting a little too out of hand.
But that's
where they draw it.
I don't know. But that's just one of those things where if you're just such a dominant athlete, and like, don't get me wrong, like there are very few people who dominate in women's basketball, and I love women's basketball. I just love basketball in general. But it's just 101 points. And to think, like, the record in the NBA is 100 by Wilt Chamberlain, and the next closest is Kobe at 81.
And we asterisks on Wilt.
Really? You don't believe it?
No, bro.
What do you mean? You don't think he scored 100 points in basketball?
I'm pretty sure they didn't even have the counting in the paint. And I'm pretty sure he was like almost like a whole foot taller than everybody.
Oh, he was, but doesn't negate that he did score 100 points in a game.
I don't
in
know.
A regulation NBA basketball game. He scored 105.
Do you even call that the NBA?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm also a big basketball nerd, so
to me that is like, I would say Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, in my opinion, should be more in question than Bonds.
Just based on the level of talent playing?
Just based on, like, the dude, I'm 99% sure there was no, like, paint clock. Like, if you're a whole foot taller than everybody,
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the dude just like ran down to the middle, caught it.
Oh, yeah. If you ever watch old videos of Wilt playing, it's incredible. It's just like, he should not be on this court with these people.
No.
Or these people should not be on the court with him.
Like, I don't know. Obviously it's a record. Like, I'm not saying it's not a record, but like, that's taking my like actual analyst hat off. Like, that's fucking bullshit. Like, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. And I think what was it, like in the 50s, I want to say, or the early 60s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's not. He would not. No one would ever come anywhere close to that in the modern NBA. But I mean, just still, it's just an incredible stat line. So
I don't know. I scored like 115 on my NBA My Player one year, just shooting threes. So like, Will get at me.
Get out. Yeah. Well, and bear in mind that was without a 3-point line. 3-point line wasn't available yet.
Yeah, but like, again, he also didn't have a paint clock, so he just sat in the paint.
Yeah, I mean,
if the game plan, that's essentially like a varsity team playing like, or no, like that's one varsity dude playing against like a 6th grade team,
right,
with no paint clock. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. I don't agree, but I get what you're saying. So let us know in the comments down below. Would you rather be able to dunk or be able to throw 105? And do you think Judge is the MVP, or is it Shohei Ohtani should be the AL MVP?
Is there a third in there that we haven't brought up?
Or is there somebody else in there?
No.
All right. Put those down in the comments.
Let us know.
Moving on to the main topic today, we wanted to talk about, we're right about that time of the year where guys are kind of, you played your fall season, you played your summer season, and now we're looking to get looks for colleges, right? And how many guys out there listening out in the wider world, watching on YouTube, are thinking, or have had a request from a coach like, can I get a video of you pitching or get a video of you hitting? And you guys are wondering, okay, what does my video need to look like? Can I just throw random game footage out there? Can I just throw some stats up there? Whatever it might be. How do you, Connor? And we'll talk about the pitching side on my end later, but I'm interested in the hitting side because I don't know anything about the hitting side. How would you make a quality recruiting video that a college coach is going to want to watch?
Right.
That displays the best things that a kid or an athlete displays, or at least shows what I am physically capable of doing, right? So like no like pomp and circumstance, no like being like wishy-washy with the numbers, being like maybe exaggerating. It's like here's who I am as a baseball player, and then you can send those out to whatever colleges might be interested in you.
Yeah, so when we're looking at it, we're definitely going to want, obviously, game footage.
Right.
But that's not the end-all, be-all, right? It's really easy to put together game footage, and then if the coach doesn't necessarily know the competition level, it's going to be kind of difficult for them. But obviously, you're going to want little game footage in there, right? So when we're going through, obviously, we're going to try and find the best swings, but also with the best camera angles. So either directly behind or on the open side is going to help out really well. If you only have game footage from if you're like a righty and you only have video from the third base side, that'll work. But it will be really important for them to see how fast you're able to move in a game-like setting, with your confidence levels, stuff like that. Once we go through and we kind of get done with the game footage, we're going to need to make sure that we get some BP, some front toss, whatever it is. We're going to go through, we're going to, no matter what, make sure we have a camera angle from behind, camera angle from the side. That's going to give a coach just kind of the best idea of that swing. And then when we're going through, we're going to need to make sure at minimal that we have blast motion. In my opinion, I think blast motion is more important than would be hit tracks if you have to pick one or the other. Blast motion is going to show the process of the swing, whereas hit tracks is just going to show the results of the swing. And so for a coach, they're really going to want to make sure that the swing is right. If you're hitting, 90 miles an hour, but it's off a front toss or whatever, and then you go to the machine or BP and you can't make that adjustment because of the timing difference, they're going to want to be able to know that. And so going through and just having the blast motion on, that's going to be able to, like I said, give them kind of the whole picture of what your swing is rather than the reaction to the pitch being thrown. If you're able to have blast motion and also hit tracks or TrackMan, I'm not going to say the third one, not doing it. Any type of metrics that are able to show exit velocity, launch angle, distance, stuff like that. We're going to put that together. Honestly, we're going to look to try and keep everything under 3.5 minutes at most on the hitting. Well, actually, generally total. So if you're a hitter and a pitcher, maybe get up to like 4 minutes, but that's kind of like pushing it. If you can put together a video that's under 3.5 minutes on the hitting side, a little bit of you fielding, whether you're in the outfield, catcher, infielder, whatever it is, that's fine. But mostly on the hitting side, clear angles of either directly out in front or behind, both would be even better. Some metrics, some game footage, and then from there, just chopping it up. No music. Don't be throwing in, BS music and stuff like that. They're there to see your swing, not your Spotify playlist. Yeah.
Well, what if I want to? I want to play In the End because it's such an epic song. R.I.P. Chester.
Rip. That it's not going to be too much,
Right.
but just having those baseline metrics, because that's going to be able to be compared to guys that they're recruiting, guys that are on their team. If your metrics are better than one of their starters, or their, if you're a junior and your numbers are better than their sophomore, probably going to look to get you an offer. If you could play for them right now or fit into where you could play for them right now, they're going to want to know that. And so having those baseline metrics, using consistent data that coaches use, that's going to be really important.
So what you said earlier, like your ample time limit is 3 minutes, or is that including pitching and hitting, or what's even on just on the hitting side?
So if you're going pitching and hitting, I would say try and keep it below 4 minutes, being able to showcase both sides. If you're looking to just do the hitting piece, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes is probably going to look to be your cap.
How much of those 3 minutes are dedicated to game footage, and how much of those 3 minutes are dedicated to if maybe you're in the facility, right, and you're getting hit tracks data, or you're getting blast motion data? What's your ratio? I would say
I would probably say a solid.
Your pitching video needs to have your title card and your slow motion mechanics, however long they usually is, like 15, 20 seconds, right? Mm-hmm. Give me basically from right before your foot pickup all the way to maybe when you follow through or your back leg touches the floor after you've released the ball, right? That's all you need to see. That's all the coach needs to see. Then you need 5 pitches or 5 videos, I say, of every pitch you throw. So 5 fastballs, 5 changeups, 5 sliders, 5 curveballs, whatever it is. Set it up right behind your shoulder, right? That way you get basically just a down the line shot, and you can see, and a coach can see how everything moves, right? And that's all you're looking for. The big stipulation is I would say you need to have a radar gun in the video. All right, you need a radar gun. You need a radar board. If the radar board's down the line, and that's the way we have ours set up, is the radar gun's down at the other end of the tunnel with a video board, so you can plainly see all the numbers that come up. That way you can see what the velocity is, and you can see what the movement is. Right? There's no lying. You can't be wishy-washy about a radar gun being up. You can't be wishy-washy about what kind of movement you generate, because it's right there for everyone to see, right? That's what I would say is 5 of every pitch. Make sure the radar gun's on. Make them as good as possible. Like
right.
The better they are, obviously, is nice. But you just want to be able to show a coach, here's what I am capable of doing. Right. And then at the very end, I would always say, write down who you are. Like kind of reintroduce yourself. Like I'm Johnny All-Star. I graduate this year or whatever year you might be. What's my GPA? What's my weighted GPA if that's something that's necessary? What's my SAT? What are my test scores? And anything else maybe that might be interesting. Like make sure include like an email or some way they can contact you as well. I have a example of this on my Instagram. Cole Thomas Fast, and it's also up on the Fast Baseball Instagram as well.
Yo.
If you guys want to see what those should look like, right? Do you have any examples on social media anywhere, Connor?
I actually do have some, if you go to my YouTube, that I've actually put together for some former players. So you can find that on YouTube at Fast RBI. Kind of changed it up from the last couple weeks. So just Fast RBI, that's the new YouTube. So I actually have a playlist where it just says recruiting videos. You can go through, click on that. And I like how you brought it up. I think there's multiple ways to get the same thing, tomato kind of deal. So exactly like you said, giving like a little introduction. I've in the past had where I've had my players just get video recorded of that, wearing their like summer league or their high school, like whatever it is, giving like a little like video intro, name, exactly what you said, GPA, stuff like that. I would also look to try and put your if you have a travel ball team, put your coach's information on there, and then also your high school coach's information. That way they can, it's essentially a resume, and those are your references, right? So those are going to be the most kind of guys that coach is going to want to talk to. So making it sure that the easiest way to, I think, receive an email is to make it as easy as possible for them to find that information. If you send over something to a coach and they like your stuff, but it's going to take them, a couple days to find out what high school or your high school coach's information.
Right. Oh, yeah. Always include what school you go to as well. I should have noted that as well.
It's the same thing when it comes to business, right? Because the recruiting video is just selling yourself. Mm-hmm. The college coach is the consumer. And so when you're trying to do business, you want to make it as less amount of steps as possible for that consumer to then purchase your product. So the quicker that you can get that information to that college coach, so that way they can just say, yep, I'm doing it, the better. If you take like 3, 4, 5 days to send them out information, or like I said, if they have to try and reach out and find out who your high school coach is and how to even get in contact with them, if that takes multiple days, that coach might get 20 more videos and go, oh, actually, like, I'm looking for this for my team.
This one becomes much more convenient.
Exactly. And so they're going to go with the more convenient one. Because it's just, you are, yourself, but to that college coach, you're just a recruit at this point. And so there's lots of recruits. They can just go to the next one. Don't make it to where they can easily go to the next recruit.
Right. So what I usually do is I always tell people, like, I'll go on Twitter and I'll go on Flat Ground app, or I'll go on all these services, whatever, and I'll tell coaches, like, do you withhold information, or do you have so what I always say on my Twitter videos of guys recruiting videos is say like TrackMan data available upon request, right? So you can DM me or you can email me and just like, can I see this kid's TrackMan data? Or like, would you do the same thing? Or so what I did on a recent video I made was I literally just put at the very end of the video, like right before the in like the test scores, email, phone, everything like that. I just put like, here's his fastball, here's his average velocity, here's his average spin rate, here's his average vertical movement, horizontal movement, just like bare knuckles. Here's how everything looks out average wise. Like, I'm gonna kind of just validate to you everything you just saw. Right. That way, I think it's you want to be able to show yourself off, but you also need to be able to validate it yourself as well. You got to make sure that maybe you threw one nasty ass curveball in the video, but that's the one outlier of that whole day, and that doesn't reflect everything you do actually throw on a TrackMan, right? Like, it's the same thing on the hitting side. Like, maybe you hit a bomb 350, but your average distance is, I don't know, 210. Right. You've got to be able to validate everything that coach sees as well.
And honestly, I've talked to some college coaches where, like how you mentioned, if you're pitching and you don't have a radar up, they're not going to look at that.
No.
Like, because for them, they're not, like, it's just a pitch being thrown. Like, I'm sure anybody that has watched any MLB games, like, it does not look that fast on the TV. Like, and if there wasn't a radar, you're not going to know the difference between 90 and 100. Like, you're not going to be able to sit there watching on TV and go, yep, that was 94.
Shows what you know, new school guy. all my old crusty scouts.
They all know how to.
All the old crusty scouts. But even that's the same thing. Is even I know old scouts, guys in their 70s and the 80s, like they still break them. They still have one of those like the big stalkers. Not even the one like not even the ones that like
not those,
those things weigh like 15 pounds.
They got the stalker prototype.
Yeah, they got the big stalkers, right? And even I would say like, you have an idea, but you don't know what necessarily what velocity looks like, right? You have an idea, and all that, but the ones that like even scouts are like, I've got to validate what my belief is.
Exactly, and that's going to be a big piece even on the hitting side, which is why I bring up, at minimal you need blast motion, because I can look at if a guy's bat speed is blank, his rotation is blank, and in the video I see he pieced it up or she pieced it up. It's like, all right, like that kind of gives me a ballpark of where that's going to be. Whereas if I have nothing, like, I mean, you could have just caught that on the end of the bat, which is why it sounded really loud or whatever it is. Because in a cage, when you're doing the facility part, generally, if you take most cages are going to be 10 foot tall, 10 foot wide, generally between 45 to 70 feet long. If you were to take that exact same cage and put it on a baseball field, that's not even reaching second base.
No.
And so if you have a guy that is putting balls on the ground, that's not even reaching the back part of the net or anything like that, like on a real field, they're not even hitting the ball out of the infield.
Yeah.
And so that's where hit tracks will come in handy. That's where that piece is nice. But it's really easy to kind of trick people in the cage, because that happens more than anything during instructors, where they'll just sit there, do the little front toss. The bat sounds really loud, pat you on the butt. Hey, great job. Whereas you don't know how hard you hit it. You don't know any of that information. So now put yourself in the college coach's role. You have no idea what this kid's doing or anything like that. And so if you don't have any metrics or anything like that, coaches are just going to move on, because they have no way to compare you. What are they going to say? Yeah, man, kid had a good swing, I think. It looked good, but I can't really tell anything else about it. Like, is that kid facing 70 miles an hour and that's why the swing looked good? Or like, they can't tell any of that. So make sure you have at minimal some data points. Like I said, multiple different angles, a little bit of game footage, a little bit of facility, some, fielding, and that's kind of about it.
Something I find very interesting between the distinctions between a hitting video and a pitching video is like, you've got to include game footage and how you pitch in a game or play in a game, whereas pitching is just like throw hard and have the stuff.
Yeah.
If I'm a coach, I'm like, I don't need to see you in a game. If I think you have the stuff, like I can work with whatever, right? I can just take you from like you. It's almost like
you can plug and play.
Exactly, I can plug and play you as a pitcher, right? If you got the stuff to compete, I can work on the mental side.
Right.
If you don't have it, right? But it's one of those things like you've got to make sure you have that stuff. And this is something maybe we'll have a conversation at a later date about going to showcases or making videos when you're not totally ready or you're not the player. You want to go to a certain level, but you are not at that level to play at that level. I know that was a lot of saying the level. Like, you need to have the skills to play at whatever level you want to be, right? And how do you manage your time and how do you prioritize, going back to our very first podcast, how do we prioritize what I need to work on to be the level I want to be, and what am I at a skill level, or what's my skill level that I can go promote myself, right? Because it's the same thing for you. Like, you can look good in a batting cage, but if you can't hit the ball at the infield, no one's going to be interested in you.
Exactly.
If you don't throw 80 over 80, unless you've got just ungodly movement and ungodly control, no one's going to be interested in you. Right. So this might be a conversation for another day that we don't really need to top in onto this one, because we're just exclusively talking about how to make good videos and how to promote yourself in the best possible way. Right. But you've got to make sure you're qualified. It's the same thing with any resume. You've got to make sure you are qualified for that job.
Well, it's one of those, and I'll bring it back to, I think it's actually a really important part about the recruiting video, because we've laid out essentially what to include in a recruiting video, but I think allowing people to know when they're ready for a recruiting video, it is pretty important in my opinion. And going to what I mentioned earlier is that you're a product that you're trying to sell to coaches. If you were to take a prototype that is not ready and try and take it to consumers, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. Like, why would I want this? It is I have no reason or purpose for this. They're not going to look at, the potential. Oh, it could be this, it could be that. Yeah.
There are a lot of products that everyone thought based on the potential they were going to be phenomenal. Like things like, I don't know, Google Glass, or things like, how many products have we grown up with? Like me being 28, almost 29, you in your 25, 26 area.
Yeah.
Like how many things have we seen like, this is going to be the next big thing?
Oh, yeah.
But it was just way too early, or just didn't have anything that was going to benefit anybody. And that's what you're looking for in a recruiting video, or to be a recruiter, is you need to be the person that is going to benefit the coach of the school you want to go to, right? You need to be of benefit. You're going to need to be the guy that's going to help them gain wins, because that's what they're looking for, and that's what they're recruiting you for, is you're going to help my team win baseball games.
Exactly. And if you're going through, and if you're not something worth that coach buying, or even close to that coach buying, honestly, putting together that recruiting video is a waste of time.
Right.
Because it's one of those where there are times where prototypes people do buy. Is like, I can see the potential, but generally those prototypes are a lot closer to final production than the other ones where they're not even close. And we're not saying that if you're not close, with your numbers or where you're at, that you should never make a video. It's just that, why put together a video, put it on YouTube or wherever you're doing it, and saying like, hey, this is me.
Right.
Where it's like, all right, well, you're a sophomore. Now anytime a coach goes to Google this and they Google your name, your sophomore video is going to come up. Like, is that the product you want to showcase?
Is that what you want to be seen as?
Exactly. Or do you want to take that time, energy, and effort and money, and instead of trying to create a recruiting video saying, hey, you should buy who I am, when no one's going to buy it, put that into training, put that into where you can then become something that a consumer would want. Now, you still may be a prototype, but you might be further along in the production line to where they can go, oh, I can see the benefit of this in the future. I can use that product moving forward.
Right. I think the same thing goes, and this, maybe we can talk about this at a later episode, but we can just touch on it briefly, is this exact same thing. Trey, your recruiting videos like going to showcases. It's the exact, and that's why I have no problem with showcases. I think showcases it's like the same thing with recruiting videos. It's going to show people who you are, and you're going to showcase your skills, right? But if you don't have the skills to play at whatever level you desire, the Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, junior college, professional, that's your ultimate goal. If you don't have the skills to make it at that level, or be someone that anybody at those levels are going to want to attract, you're going to attract and you're going to win that coach games, there's no point in going to those things, right? It's like trying to eat like a lasagna that you didn't fully cook, right? Or
a cake that still is just batter.
Exactly. Or, we could just come up with all the analogies in the world. But it's like, like it could be like you could have the best car in the world, the nicest looking car in the world, but if there's no engine in it, no one gives a shit.
It's not a good car.
It's not a good car.
Great front lawn ornament.
Yeah, it's a great front lawn ornament, but you're not going to get anywhere with that. Yeah. So that's why we try to tell guys all the time, but for some reason, people just don't listen to us.
Well, it's one of those where I think it's the idea of them being like, well, why do you think I'm not ready? And I almost feel like it turns into like I will show you that I am ready. And it's like, you're not trying to prove to, myself or Cole that you're ready. You need to prove it to, the college coaches. We are saying that they don't want to see it. Right. And this is where I get a lot of guys that are like, well, I was the all-star on my JV team, or on my 16U, I batted, 5-hole in 320. And it goes back to, and we've talked about it many a times, the idea of not having an actual understanding of where you rank. And so it's like, all right, well, in my head, I think I am a D1 guy, even though I haven't done any of the things to prove that I'm a D1 guy. I think I'm a D1 guy, so that means that I am ready for showcases. I am ready for recruiting videos. And I would almost, we will get into this on another podcast, and hopefully we'll have a fun guest for you guys with it. But I would almost say I agree with showcases and recruiting videos being very similar. To me, the difference though is when you go to a showcase, you will then have immediate feedback of the people around you of where you rank.
Yeah.
Where a recruiting video, you just kind of send into the abyss. And
Right.
so I've actually suggested to some guys to go and do showcase, like a showcase their freshman or sophomore year. Get used to seeing what the other guys look like, but then also get used to having everybody staring at you to receive your 5 ground balls. Have everyone staring at you, because that is a kind of acquired like thing. And I've seen dudes that are dudes, but they've never gone to something where they've had that kind of situation and they just crumble because they're not used to that. And I've also seen guys that aren't very good, but because they were just comfortable and confident because they've been in that situation before, they were able to showcase themselves a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying to consistently go to showcases.
No, I like that. I like
are.
the idea that go to one, and that's one thing I've told people in the past as well is, if you want to go to one just to see what it is, go for it. All right, see what a normal showcase looks like. See what skills you're gonna have to showcase, right? And I think, and that's one of the things. Like the way I hate showcase ball is because I feel like it looks for the skills that are not necessarily that important or not game like, right? Like you see it all the time with like Perfect Game or all these videos where there's like, here's the shortstop who throws 96 across the diamond, and he's just pump fakes and he crow hops like 10 yards before he even throws the ball. I'm like, but that's not a game. Like, that's what we would love to. I would love to find a way to develop a showcase system that like we can play games and we can do showcase type workouts. Like I can see what your infield velocity across the diamond is. I can see all this stuff, but like I need that stuff to be as game like as possible, right? Pitching's a little different because it's easier to be a little more game like. Where it's the same thing with the videos. Like all you need is how fast do I throw and what does my shit do, right? And a coach will go like, okay, I like that.
Yeah. Right.
Whereas on the hitting side and the fielding side, you need to have that exposure to chaos.
Yep.
Right. And this is like we talked about with the 60s is like, and this is something I'll harken back to JC's conversation last week that we talked about where, you need to prepare guys for chaos because, you and I can sit here in the facility and like you can soft toss or put guys on the pitching machine and all that, and everything's usually going to be very similar. Right. On the pitching side for me, it's like I can get you to throw a bullpen on the TrackMan all the time, like throwing to a target or throwing to a catcher. But it's like, all right, let's put somebody in there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. Because the thing is like, and we talked about this on last week about how to train a kid who's good in practice but can't do it in the game. It's like, well, how often are you making things game like? And that's what I would go to showcases is, have games like have showcase games where a hitter can get 3 at bats a game or something like that, and a pitcher can get 2 or 3 innings, right? So you see him in multiple lights, you see him in multiple situations, right? That way you know what he's got skill wise and what he's got up top. Like how well does he understand the game? Mm-hmm. How well does he understand the situation he is in? How can he adapt to that situation he's in? One thing I always see all the time is kids who are really good hitters but have no approach.
Yep.
Right? So that would be something I'd be very interested as a college coach. I'm like, okay, he's got the talent. He knows how to swing the ball. He swings the ball hard, but what's his approach on the mound in the box? Like, is he only searching for fastballs? Can he make adjustments to off speeds? Or how does his approach change as the at bat changes? Right? Because who's the guy from Major League? The guy can only hit fastballs.
Oh, you had no Marvels.
Yes, exactly.
Was it?
I forget his name.
Soriano.
Yeah, we have Soriano. I forget what his first name is. But it's like, guys like that are not that valuable for a college coach. Because once you figure out, it's the same thing in Major League. It's like once they figure it out, oh, he can only hit fastballs, I'm just going to throw him a curveball. Or I'm going to throw him a changeup or a slider. And then that kid's going to go 0 for the entire day.
Right.
It's like, how adjustable are you? If I'm on the pitching side, how well can you adjust to situations that are not in your control? Because I get that all the time with clients is, he's really good early in the games when he's in control, and then he just kind of loses it like 3rd or 4th inning. Like, okay, so that's actually a kid I have right now where he's in the fall, he just goes like, oh, he's really good right off the bat, and then he like kind of starts fading as the game goes along. I'm like, okay, well, what happens? He's like, I'm like, do you get tired? He's like, no, I don't really get tired. I'm like, okay, well, does your infield make a mistake, like cause an error? He's like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, how do you react to that? I try to throw harder and I try to do things I'm not capable of doing. I'm like, okay, well, there's your issue.
Right.
Is you're trying to be something you're not. Right. So that's what, like,
how do we apply
how
that
do you,
into
how
a
do you,
showcase setting?
It's one of those things I'd just be very fascinated. Just like, all right, I'm just going to randomize situations for you. You're going to start an inning with a guy on second base and 1 out.
It's almost like there might be somebody looking to try and create something like that.
I know.
Oh.
Something we've talked about in the past, but it's one of those, I wonder how to get that done. Where I just look at a pitcher, and obviously I just one of those things like you're going to get a lot of negative feedback about that.
Yeah.
Parents go like, well, my son didn't do well because you came up with these bullshit rules.
It's like,
where now he started a game with a guy on third base. I'm like, okay, well, that's what's going to happen to him if he's a reliever. That's what's going to happen to him. I want to see how well you can adjust to just randomize situations.
Right.
And, we're going to randomize them. We randomize them. We make them, nothing's going to be the same. And I want to see you exposed to as many situations as possible. And I want to see how you react to it. Right. And I think there'd be a huge market for that. And I think college coaches would love that, where they just go like, you can show off an athlete, all the numbers and all the size and all that. It's like, how does he play?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the combine. Like as fun as the combine is for a lot of people, it's like, it doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah, no, the combine.
How many quarterbacks have we ever watched in the past? Like, oh, this guy did really well in the combine, and then he's out of the league in 3 years because he just couldn't adapt. Yeah. To the league, or he couldn't adapt. And I get in. There's a lot of stipulation to quarterbacks in the NFL just based on how good the organization they go to is. Like, shout out like Chicago Bears, who haven't had a good quarterback since the '80s because they don't have the infrastructure to develop good
Giants.
Fuck. Well, I mean, you have to have it like an Eli Manning too if you're the Giants. But it's the same thing. Like, how well can you adjust to certain situations in the game? I can get you to throw a 60. I can get you to throw a bullpen. I can get you to throw a BP. And I'm like, okay, you've got talent. You know what to do. Can you play the game?
And that's why I think it's really important for us to be able to include that game footage. Because how I see it is that in a recruiting video, the game footage is going to show like how you're just a baller, right? Like how do you compete? And then, in my opinion, the facility part is what is showcasing what you are capable of. And, obviously the most low pressure environment, but that is still what they're able to produce. And so I think that shows the potential because obviously, hopefully the facility numbers are going to be higher than generally what the game is. On average, pretty much your swing, your bat speed, all of your general like blast motion metrics are going to drop from about 100% down to about 80% when you start going into that game. And so if we're able to showcase, hey, this is what 100% is, and then this is what their game is. I mean, if you're higher than 80% in the game than what you normally are at, that's going to show like this dude has a lot more still in the tank. Whereas if you're super separated, it's like, all right, like that's going to be a coach's project, or that's going to be this, that's going to be that. I think it just shows a full picture of what they're capable of, but then also what they have already been able to show.
I'm always fascinated because that's the idea of the recruiting video. Yeah. Is I'm going to showcase my talents in a vacuum. There are no other variables. There are no other. It's like it's just me and the catcher, or it's me and the target, or it's and the same thing as you with the facility is like it's just gonna be me and the pitching machine. I just have to hit pitching machine fastballs or front toss or anything like that. It's all in the vacuum, and anyone can perform well when there are zero variables outside of your control.
I would say anyone is able to perform to their ability in a vacuum. Because to
the best of their ability.
Yeah. And that's then where, cause we could take one of my freshmen or one of your freshmen, put them in the most, vacuum possible, and they're still not going to have the metrics of what a coach is looking
but
for.
that's where you and I would say,
And that's where it's
develop those skills.
Yeah.
Like, you can be a baller but not have the skills, but you can also have the skills and not be a baller.
exactly
Right? And that's where we have to work on, where you and I work on melding those two types of people, those two types of players. The guys who do well metrically, and the guys who just go based on instinct, right? This is one of those things, like, I would love to take the guy who's got all the instincts in the world and give him the skills, as opposed to the guy who has all the skills and none of the instincts.
I see that.
Because I feel like instincts are harder to teach or harder to develop than the skills.
My question to that would be, though, is how did they acquire those instincts? Because it's one of those where it's like, I mean, like, shit, Strider, right? Strider's my German Shepherd dog. He's 100 pounds. He looks ferocious, right? There are still times where, like, no matter what I do, like, he's going to do what is built inside of his breed, right?
Yep.
Like, so, like, yes, we could take away, or it's almost impossible to put instincts into an athlete. But I've also seen where there are guys where their instincts are too, like, set in stone, to where then that is why their metrics or their capabilities isn't at where it's at, is because their instincts were what carried them to a point, but it was also their fault after that point, if that makes any sense.
So you're like implying the guys who have instincts, but, like, their instincts are not malleable or not adjustable.
Yes.
Okay.
And so where it's like, yes, this person may have the best instincts of everybody, but this kid who has lesser instincts, because he has less instincts, he is more receptive to receiving adjustments. And so then that makes it to where he can just excel or skyrocket. I'm not saying every kid or anything like that. I've seen both sides, where I've seen one kid that had zero instincts, and we were able to kind of get him to a point where his metrics were higher than the average, but then that leveled out his instincts. I've also seen dudes where their instincts are off the charts, but then again, like, let's say the fastest hands in the world, right? That is almost every hitting coach's dream, is just having to do with the fastest hands. But I've also seen guys that is their crutch. Like, if you take away that hand speed or that bat speed, they have nothing else, and they're not able to make those adjustments. And so, like, to a point, probably throughout, like, JV, that high bat speed is going to get them through at a high level. But then once they get to that varsity, I can't get that kid out of those instincts to then make the adjustments moving forward. I've seen it both ways.
So here's how I would theorize, at least, how you would fix the instincts issue is, and this goes back to youth ball, and I'll touch briefly on this because this is not really the topic, but this is
episode 4
of
talking about the youth.
This is the episode. Go back to our previous episode for further expansion on this, but it's the let kids play.
Oh yeah.
Right? There's almost too much structure in how youth parents and youth coaches and just youth baseball organizations, there's too much structure in how those things are organized, right? It's like, if you're, how many youth parents or coaches out here listening are teaching kids bunt defense? It's worthless, right? Teach them how to have greater instincts outside the game and think outside the box, right? Teach them how to have a feel for the game. And the only way you can have a feel for a game is you play games with no rules, or, I mean, there's rules, but, like,
no
you don't,
rules.
like, you don't, but it's like, we'll go, I mean, we're going to end up going way more on this topic than we should, but it's like the Norwegian model. And I should have included it in the description below on our last podcast, but Real Sports on HBO with Brian Gumbel. It's like the 60 Minutes for Sports for people who aren't familiar. They did a piece on what we talked about on the Norwegian sports model. In the youth level, on all the sports, basketball, soccer, baseball, they played it there. All these things from like 8 years old to 13, they don't keep score. Score is irrelevant, right? They don't really have. They teach you the rules of baseball. They'll teach you the rules of the sport and the, structure and all that, but they don't keep score. They're just like, hey, go play the game. Go learn to love this game, right? And I feel like that's where if you're not tying your performance to a score, or you're not tying your performance to how many medals or how many trophies or how many championship games, it just allows you, like, hey, what would happen if I tried this? You know, if I tried this adjustment, or, you know, I'm a shortstop, like, how far into the hole can I play and still find the range to get to a ball up the middle, right? That way I take away the first and shortstop gap, and I can still get up the middle, right? You know, if I'm a center fielder, where can I see a guy like this, like, how can I make adjustments? Because then I don't have the fear of, like, my adjustment being wrong.
Right.
I just go here and I learn. There's no stake. There are no stakes to it. Right. It's just, I'm playing to learn the game, to learn different feels, different instincts. And I don't have to worry about, oh, I got eliminated in the first round of this tournament. That means absolutely nothing. Right. I just got to learn something. You know, and that's why I think guys learn different things, is if there's no stakes, it allows kids, it allows adults even to just, hey, what happens if I do this?
Yeah, don't penalize failure.
Yeah, don't penalize failure, right? There's that video going around on TikTok and of that old guy, the math teacher, the fuck around and find out chart, right? Yeah. Like, we need to teach more kids to fuck around. When you teach
so that
more
way
kids,
they can find out.
Yeah, right. We don't let, in youth ball, from at least what I've seen on various levels, is there is a do it this way because this is what's going to win us games, because winning is fun, and don't get me wrong, winning is fun, but winning is what matters.
Something.
But winning something, right?
That's fun.
There's no room to fuck around I need to win something. I need to win medals. I need to win this. I need to win that. I need to win, you know, MVP of this league or MVP of this tournament, for things that don't matter, right? Let kids fuck around to find out, and that's where they build those instincts. Then you can build the instincts. Now it's like, all right, now you've got the instincts. You have those fully ingrained. Now let's build the skills for on the hitting side, and
to pair up with that.
To pair up all those things. Right? Because now you say, okay, now you got the skills and you have the instincts. What coach is not going to?
Now we're making a recruiting video.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the same thing. Like I can make, for one of my Bear Creek kids, you know, I can make a video. Like, he's got the skills. He's going to be a mid-9s guy by the time the spring rolls around. And I can tell anybody, like, and I think this goes into being a multi-sport athlete and allow yourself to be exposed to different types of competition as well, regardless of score being kept or not. But it's like, it just kind of like teaches you to be like, he's a hockey player, and hockey players are crazy, right? And I can show a kid this. I can show a coach his skills, his how fast his curveball spins at, how much moving on his slider and all that. Then they'll come to a game and, like, this kid's a dog. Like, he's that guy who just, like, I'm gonna strike you out, or I'm gonna throw this ball right in your face.
Hey, yo, baby.
Right? I mean, that's where your point is. You're melding instincts with skills, and so it's one of those things, like a chicken or egg thing. What's more important first, skills or the savvy,
like metrics, and
like the skills and the metrics, or the savvy? What's more important to develop? And I would actually say the savvy is more important to develop for the kids, at least.
Yeah.
And then later on, it becomes, let's start teaching those skills.
100%.
So, oh, you have anything else on this?
If you guys are looking for someone to create your recruiting video,
I'm really good at pitching recruiting videos. It's my favorite thing to do.
Hey, I've been told I'm decent at hitting videos too. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, so let's go ahead and just wrap up on this today. My name's Cole Thomas. For you guys who are brand new to our channel, you can come find me at Cole Thomas Fast on Instagram, cthomas624 on Twitter. And Connor, where can they find you?
Fast_RBI for everything. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, all of that fun jazz. Fast_RBI.
Go follow us on our social media platforms. Go follow Fast at Fast Baseball on Instagram. Go follow Fast Performance CO on Instagram as well. And go to our website, Fast Colorado, up there on the screen for the guys watching on YouTube. Come find out more information about us.
Fuck around and find out.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. God damn it.